Hey everyone, Bethany Siggins here. Thank you for joining me today. We're going to talk about patterns, and next week we're going to take what we learned today and apply it into pattern mixing. So this is going to be a two-part. And patterns, obviously I'm wearing one for the purpose of the video. We have animal print, we have floral, we have stripes, we have what I call digital prints, and so having those in your wardrobe always makes for a more dynamic and exciting look and style. And it may not be for you. Patterns aren't for everyone, and I don't force them on anyone if you don't feel like they're right for you. A lot of times the classic style or the modern or the chic or the elegant style might lean away from patterns or do something that's very subtle, and that's fine. You don't have to have them in your wardrobe in order to have a beautiful outfit. So we also have what I would consider not patterns. We have pinstripes, and I'm not sure if that's going to show up that well on the video, but this is a charcoal pant, and it's got a very muted gray stripe in it. And then we also have this skirt that's, I guess, also a digital print like the pants that I just showed you. And if you were to step back, you really wouldn't be able to tell that these are patterns. You know how you squint at your Christmas tree to see if you've missed a spot or if there's any lights out, or like how you used to squint at the light bright to see what it is? It's kind of the same idea. Give it a squint test. If it looks like a solid on the squint test, or if you step back and you can't really tell that it's a pattern, then just put it with anything. I would put these pinstripe pants with any top. I would put it with a solid, of course, too. So if you have something like this, don't assume it's a pattern. I wouldn't call it one. So then we also have the density of the pattern. So this is something that I would say is extremely dense. The pattern is very close together. This is more sparse, very spaced out, or maybe a medium density, because then we get to something like this, very spaced. So you have dense, medium, or, certainly less dense, more sparse, and then your sparsest. And this would also be sort of a medium amount of sparse. Then we have the scale, and the scale meaning what's the size. So this is what I would call a petite floral. I'm pulling all these pieces out again. This would be a medium scale, and this would be a large scale. So the amount of scale that you can wear is dependent upon your personal scale. If you're 5'2", quite petite, then this petite floral would probably look great. If you're an average height, and then this medium. If you're tall, you could do a really larger scale pattern. You can break this rule. Obviously, I have all the scales, and I would consider myself more of a medium scale person. And so you can definitely break the rules and not follow this particular rule if your personal style is a little bit bolder and you like to stand out, which that's how I feel about my own personal style. And then we have contrast level. How much does the pattern contrast? So these are my handy little contrast cards, and again, like with the scale, we look to your own personal scale to determine, your own personal coloring to determine the best contrast for your patterns. So I'm wearing one that's more of a medium contrast. The lighter my hair becomes, the less contrast I have between my hair color and my skin tone. So I probably contrast somewhere like these two cards or these two cards. When I had darker hair, more contrast, then I could wear a higher contrast with my patterns, and it worked really well. Obviously, your highest contrast is going to be black and white. Very few people wear black and white well because very few people contrast like black and white. I suggest that you keep black and white away from your face, especially if you're very low contrasting in your personal coloring. I have this blazer that I've had for many years. I love it. I still enjoy wearing it. Again, getting back to my personal style, I like bold pieces, but what I have to understand is that I am breaking a rule when I put this on. And when I put this on, it's going to be more about the jacket, and people are going to see the jacket before they see me. And I have to be okay with that in whatever situation it is. If I'm speaking to a large group or even a small group, I probably would not wear this jacket because I want the audience to be able to focus on me and not what I'm wearing. So, lastly, let's talk about placement. When we were talking about body shapes, I said in certain areas of your body where you're larger, you keep that simple, maybe a little bit darker and sleeker. And then in areas where you're larger, you can wear your lighter, brighter colors and more of your patterns. So for me, I don't have a lot of curve on my upper body, so I do tend to wear a lot of pattern on my upper half. If you have very broad shoulders and very narrow hips, then I'd say go to town and, wear your fun patterns on bottom and keep it simple on top with maybe just a dark blouse. And then that's going to help you look more proportionate, slimmer here and wider on the bottom half. So that's it for patterns. You learned your different pattern types, your floral, your stripes, your digitals, the things that aren't patterns like your pinstripes. Is it dense or is it sparse? Is it small, medium, or large scale? What's the contrast level? And then where am I going to place it on my body? So I'm going to close with a new tagline because all the greats have them and I haven't come up with one yet. As you've learned, if you're listening to my videos, watching my videos, you know that image is really not about changing who you are. It's really just about learning what is best for you. And then once you have that education, you have the confidence to be yourself. When you're honest and authentic with your image, then you receive the same from others. They'll be honest and authentic with you, and that's very powerful. So with that, I'll give you my closing, which is you are amazing just as you are. Thank you. I'll see you next week for pattern mixing.